to kill wolves on spawn over and over again and then press R if somebody gets low. I don't think that really fits in with the game plan, but...
They do like to jump in and die sometimes, as we saw earlier this weekend.
Yes,
Golden Guardians also with a very different first game of the weekend versus Dignitas, where Dignitas did not really contest them on anything. I think Cloud9 are going to be the complete opposite, as we've seen from their play. They will contest you on pretty much every objective. And with the first pick, Sett here already with a powerhouse for the top side. Doesn't really have a bad matchup. Some of the big choices, of course, a lot of top laners have talked about with Aatrox later in the game. With your range and your mobility, you do have a lot of options. And some people like to be in that driver's seat. Well, this champ sucks going too fast, Flowers. I was going to say the other options, like, outscale him, KO,
don't matter.
matchup, blah, blah, blah.
What does matter is the fact that if you look at the stats when those two champions were locked in, Aatrox currently has a 36% win rate in the LCS. Sett has a 73. 73. That's twice as much as Aatrox. It takes two Aatroxes to make a Sett.
Well, I also like what they're following it up here. Cloud9, we talked about trying to force stuff early. Pantheon, perfect jungle champion for you right now. Even though the win rate in solo queue is very low, for professional play, they can make use of your stun that you can just go for level 3 ganks immediately. Even tower dives very early on. Because of your directional immunity with the shield, Pantheon can often force a lot of trades like that. Answered very quickly from the Golden Guardians, though. They get the power pick for the bottom side of the map with the Aphelios. And we just saw a pentakill from Apollo on the Aphelios.
I feel like this is really rare to see a team not pick either bot laner in the first 3 picks. Cloud9 has both solo lanes and their jungler. Well, what we're assuming is those, they could swap something up. But what we're assuming is the whole top half of the map has been drafted. I wonder if they're going to pick something wacky for the bottom lane. They do have to deal with the Aphelios and Nautilus. Both those picks incredibly strong. Jarvan and Gragas banned away. That means that if you're Golden Guardians, they're actually thinking, okay, the support has been picked.
Yeah.
And the jungler's still available.
Exactly.
Banned away.
Because they themselves use Sett as a support with the Kalista, even though Kalista's banned. So definitely can move Pantheon to support still. You can even have Syndra in the bottom lane. All these picks are flexible, so that's why they still ban out the Gragas. Because Gragas plus a solo lane Pantheon, if you did flex either the Sett or the Syndra, is another one of those devastating early game combinations, very similar to a Gragas plus a Kiana. And we've seen Nisqy's Pantheon just earlier today in Azael's very well made lane kingdom, where he absolutely annihilated the Yasuo.
Well, Zoe's locked in here for Golden Guardians. Goldenglue going to be piloting that one against Nisqy. See if he can find the sleepy trouble levels he's looking for this game. That does mean that Golden Guardians has their jungler as their last champion they're going to be drafting, which is something I always silently judge, or right now not so silently judge a little bit, because I feel like you're going to, like, the jungle pool just seems so similar these days. Doesn't feel like you get a lot out of last pick jungle and Reds.
Okay, here's my positions for Cloud9. They're actually in order, is what I would say for the team comp. They can move these around, but that's what I would say. They're in order. All of these are very flexible, though, and they can still switch up these. We'll have to wait till the 20-second mark afterwards to really dissect that, but it very well, I think, should be this case. Pantheon as a jungle also still combos really well with Taliyah, whether you lane with it or not. But it's the same idea, right? Your point and click stun from Pantheon sets up the seismic shove very beautifully for the Taliyah, and that is a tremendous amount of burst damage that you can use early on in the game. Currently, they do swap the Syndra down to bottom side to be that carry.
And I do like the fact that Sejuani was the jungler they picked last on the Golden Guardians. They wanted to make sure that their opponents didn't get a chance to pick a Trundle or anything that could sap those stats, make her life hard. So they did get some value out of the last pick after all. So making me eat my words, but in a happy way. I'm happy to eat those words as long as they're doing the draft right.
And Golden Guardians have a very standard team fight right here. They have beefy frontline, 2 forms of engage with the Sejuani as well as the Nautilus, and a possible flanking Aatrox. Of course, with the pick potential of Zoe always kind of floating around there for Goldenglue, into what you should expect from this Cloud9 team this year, right? Early action, roaming through the map, Taliyah in the mid lane, going to try and traverse Summoner's Rift early on. Nisqy renowned for his roaming out of that lane.
There is so much engage and pick potential on the side of Cloud9 with Taliyah and Syndra and Pyke and Pantheon all working together. If this team gets ahead, this is a nightmare to play against because Taliyah and Pantheon can both be anywhere. Pyke has 4 different abilities that can all be used to escape and never die. Very tricky.
I like Cloud9. They tried to use Fasting Senna to have Vulcan on a super farm support to try and get him Player of the Week because they're trying to get everybody a Player of the Week. That didn't work, so now they're putting him on Pyke for a carry support champion. See if he can get it this way. And we have seen Pyke's pop off from that position, start stacking their lethality, getting their pentakills of their own, my friend.
We'll see if we can get back-to-back pentas in the same night here. The last game of the week as Golden Guardians go up against Cloud9. For the first time all split, Cloud9 come into this game off of a loss in their previous match.
Definitely true. And Golden Guardians, we talked about it with the interview prior to this. Looking at handing the second loss. A lot of confidence on this Golden Guardians side. And that is one of the key points mentioned in playing against this team. C9 constantly will force fights on you over every little objective, even the river pixel brush, as you see
Yeah,
here.
that's an important objective right there, my friend. But C9 notices the Golden Guardians were in the top half jungle, so now they're moving into their opponent's blue side. This could turn into a level 1 fiesta real quick if somebody walks into the wrong brush.
FBI gun swapper. Thank you. A little break from that audio. They're establishing a C9 bush inside of the Golden Guardians jungle, though. I like this interesting level 1. It is going to be a top side start for Sejuani, so I don't think anyone in danger of walking by that death brush. But interesting little invade, though. We haven't seen a ton of variation in level 1s.
Right.
This split, there's been a couple where, we have a sneak over the back of the Dragon Pit, which quite often they've actually been found out and led to some first bloods. But aside from that, not too many shakeups.
We are paused right now. We'll let you guys know what's going on as soon as we have any information. Hopefully we can get back into the game here pretty soon. Golden Guardians have a task that, honestly, despite how much confidence they may have, it's still really difficult to take down this team that has been slamming everybody so far. Jat's breakdown of how they were able to team fight so successfully against Dignitas, use their abilities together, make sure they had the same target prioritization and the same timing when they went in on those targets, just shows how effective this team can be. And that goes back to what I was talking about with these team comps. Just the champions on Cloud9. You look at this comp, this is one of those nightmares that when you're loading into it against these guys on solo queue, against this champion lineup, you're like, man, I hope they never get even a little bit ahead.
And I do like how Cloud9 draft for this a lot, right? They try and draft multiple winning lanes so that even though teams know Blaber is a very aggressive jungler, he's always looking to invade, it makes them question, all right, well, which one of these winning lanes is he going to play off of?
Yeah.
And which one is he actually invading? And I think that is really important when you want to play this style of League of Legends, is that you have multiple options like that to keep your opponents guessing. So it's not just like, oh, obviously they're going to go for the Renekton and Elise combination topside. That's where the dive is coming from. It allows you to set up your defenses.
Plus, as a jungler, I'm sure you appreciate when you've got winning lanes, priority means you get to PvP when you want to. There's nothing worse than wanting to PvP for a crab at level 3, seeing both your solo lanes are losing and going, all right, I'll get those crab.
And let me tell you, Pantheon loves PvP. They nerfed a little bit of the attack speed, so the jungle position, not ideal for him as much as before. And it's much more about the PvP aspect, right? Really making use of his reliable crowd control, of his directional immunity. And we'll see if he can actually make that one happen here. They start off on your screen, as you saw, blue stolen here off of the invade. They pop over the wall, and he's doing blue into his own red, try and possibly clear back up to the top side, I would think.
So we're not going to see full-on vertical jungling, clearing out your opponent's side of the map, and then the same thing being done by Closer on the opposite side. Instead, he'll head back over into his own jungle, as you mentioned, and Closer's just going to come up to a blue buff that's not there.
Exactly. That's another thing about when you pick multiple winning lanes, just look at the state of the map right now. You see this top lane pushing like that, it is so incredibly dangerous for a Sejuani to try and go for the split map and go for the invade here.
Yep.
Because you know that Cloud9 solo lanes will collapse on you. So not only does Sejuani lose the 1v1 to Pantheon, you also don't have solo lane advantage in the collapse coming to you. And basically Cloud9 just gets you take your blue buff from right out under your nose and stare you down while they do it. Nothing you can have to answer.
As Nisqy continues maintaining that pressure in mid lane, Goldenglue get familiar with the sights and sounds of the mid lane tier 1 turret and everything associated with being close to it. As you can see now, Blaber is saying, all right, let's go down towards this bottom side. They're expecting this is when Closer will be clearing through his jungle. They'll take that bottom side crab as well, just in case the Sejuani would be there to contest it. You saw Nisqy move over before he made his back happen, but then takes the opportunity to go back and shop up before he returns to the lane.
And I do want to point out something with Blaber and with Cloud9, how you want to play the game when you're trying to establish jungle difference, right? He counter jungles on blue, makes his way back over to this red side, but doesn't full clear back that way. Make sure he goes back to this bottom scuttle first to cut off opportunities for Sejuani to actually fight back into this game. So it relegates Closer to only farming his own camps, not setting up any of the lanes like we see here on top side.
Flash into the stun. Flash comes out from Hauntzer, but Cloud9 are still looking for it, and the spear in the back means Blaber gets first blood.
Guaranteed crowd control, as we state with Pantheon. Loves the PvP, Captain Flowers. There's your first taste. How do you rate it?
That's what I'm talking about, the aggressive flash to make it happen. And even though Hauntzer flashed to get away, he had already eaten the full haymaker on the sweet spot from Licorice in the trade beforehand, and it works out exactly how C9 wants it to. Let's see if Closer can get a return kill here. Haymaker already came out. Closer looking to find that follow-up CC, but Licorice did not use his flash getting the kill beforehand, so he's able to flash away and stay alive.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, since they just saw Sejuani top side, they can easily play up here. Nisqy going to be able to shove this wave. He knows that there are wards that see him right now. It becomes a lot easier to make that roam after pushing once Taliyah does get her level 6. But let's take another look at the counter from the Golden Guardians. Hauntzer actually, really good placement here from Licorice to get in between the minion waves so he can get his own stun to buy Blaber the time to get up there and get in range. And then, as we keep saying, it's so easy just to flash shield vault for the follow-up stun there, and they're able to pick up that kill. But Licorice starting it off. It's always about top laner starting it off there. Ooh.
Well, Nisqy's almost starting off a full-on kill against Goldenglue here. Waits for Goldenglue to flash away. Does not flash after him. The counterattack has come out from the side of the Golden Guardians. Blaber jumps forward, but only onto a minion to close the distance, but that's okay. Vulcan has that Q to try to bring him back. They don't quite have the damage. Man, that was close.
Very close. I actually think Blaber should have stunned the Nautilus instead of the Sejuani, as Closer just got off the charge. But he was trying to catch on the closest target right there.
Yeah.
In the end, they still push forward and get a plate. No kill have for Cloud9 this time around, though. As I think Nisqy did a very good job, not only in his 1v1 with Goldenglue, but then you saw him actually walk into the two members of Golden Guardians as they come to gank him to try and bait them around, to stick around for Vulcan and Blaber. It's these types of solo lane and ganker relationship that are very important.
Well, talking about that relationship, they're looking to get awfully familiar with each other here in the mid lane as Nisqy grabs himself the second kill of the game for Cloud9 with Blaber and Vulcan, the Goon Squad, showing up to help him.
And again, just highlighting the two main points of this Pantheon kit that we mentioned that make him so much better in pro play than in solo queue. And it is his gank assistance with the shield vault and the immunity with the Aegis Assault, chugging off those power shots.
Cloud9 up to 1,500 gold ahead of their opponents from these kills and the fact that they're able to build advantages through them. Licorice will be stealing away the enemy red buff, but he finds himself in a spot that might be dangerous. The red trinket finds him out. He goes for the showstopper, but remember, Sett has no mobility. As soon as the showstopper comes out, there's no other way through him except trying to fight back, but that's not happening. Good collapse from the Golden Guardians, as now they're going to start off a 2v2 here in the bottom side. Dredge line from Huhi. It's going to find some damage onto Vulcan, but nothing more.
And wait till you get level 6 in this bottom lane. Syndra Pyke, this is the big power spike you're looking for, where you're looking at the resets for Pyke ultimate. They work super well together because as soon as Syndra has access to an unleashed power, you're able to just focus fire on the enemy support. Right now, Huhi's still level 4 on the Nautilus, while FCI is level 6. So even though you usually want to take down the carry of the opponent team, if they have the lower level support like that on the front line, melee champion like that, you just blast them and you get the Pyke the reset on the ultimate, and they're able to chain through that way. But instead, they're just going to use the priority on bottom side to go grab the objective here. Ocean Dragon for Cloud9.
They also stole the blue buff away and gave it to Nisqy. Cloud9 has had so much control over the buffs this game. They have taken every single buff except for the first red of the Golden Guardians. Now, granted, Licorice did steal it only to have it immediately taken right back, but it's the thought that counts. Let's take a look at how they found it.
Yeah, we're getting a look at the hide-and-go-seek here. Sweeper did reveal Licorice in that brush, and as you stated, he's got no dashes. He's got no escape. No. He can fight his way out here, make it look like a decent little scrap, but that's about it, and they close in, finish off the kill. Goldenglue actually the one that got the last hit, so could be a little bit more annoying of a Zoe if you start to see some roams from him around. Thankfully for Cloud9, they had already burned those summoner spells early, so Zoe would have to find opponent summoner spells if she was to make that surprise play.
Nisqy just roaming around again, this time helping Vulcan with the Rift Herald here in the top side. Cloud9 bringing their jungler over here now as well to make sure they're able to secure this one. Nisqy will throw a couple more rocks towards it to make sure Blaber's able to complete the job, seal the deal. And once that eye opens up one more time, there you go. Smite to secure it. And with Rift Herald Eye picked up, they've still got all the time in the world to use that one for some extra plate money. Golden Guardians making a move on the bottom side against Zven. A good sidestep's going to keep him in just a fine position here. Huhi gets away with a good dredge line. Vulcan goes for a flash into a skewer, but he will not have the distance for it. But if we're talking about distance, Taliyah is able to close it there with the wall. Here comes the Pantheon. This is the composition. This is how oppressive this combination can be.
Exactly. From Gem Select, is Sett the synergy there. Both ultimates come in. Nisqy roaming down, Blaber over the top, and it is a couple of quick kills. What they're doing right now, take the turret plates by hand. The turret then gets a bunch of bonus armor off of those, and the true damage from Shelly will ignore that to be able to get it down low enough so they can actually burn through and get the entire first turret bonus and all of the plates.
Nice trade coming out there from Goldenglue, getting the better of Nisqy in that one. But as you said, it's all about the bottom lane. It's all about the plates and that first turret money in Cloud9's pocket. 3,000 gold ahead, 10 minutes into this game. Very nice early lead. They also have the only Drake of the game so far, as you pointed out earlier. Ocean, that Drake. The second one is Infernal, means we'll get either another Mountain Rift or a Cloud Rift after that one is down. But C9 have those ultis online, and they can do plays just like this one.
Yeah, we're going to start it before we saw the flash from Vulcan, because Nisqy and Blaber are going to clean that one up, no problem, even though they didn't hit the Q. Nisqy gets a perfect seismic shove back onto Huhi for the kill there. And as you know, they finish up the tower. Look at the minimap, though. I believe FBI is actually not hard pushing this wave, because this wave was all the way up here when we went into the replay, and it's still there. So he's only last hitting it very slowly at the turret. Just now, it is finally starting to push back out, but he's trying to get that extra CS for the team while there's not really a point that Cloud9 can hard pressure right now. This puts a bit more pressure on your other two lanes. Goldenglue trying to wave clear mid, top side for Hauntzer, and trying to defend against the power play of Cloud9, since because that wave isn't pushing back immediately, it does give C9 the freedom of having Vulcan on the Pyke roaming around and not having to immediately have their bottom lane back down there. With teleport up on Licorice as well, and him going to the bottom side, C9 well positioned to take down this top side turret, and if Golden Guardians try to contest, they would have an extra person advantage here, because FBI, no teleport for the AD carry there. You can turn it around.
Seismic shove won't find its target onto Hauntzer, but this wave is just going to be shoved permanently by Nisqy and Vulcan, as Golden Guardians will send extra bodies up to the top side. There's still 2 minutes left that plates exist, so as much free firing time as you give Cloud9, it will be translating into pure money as they're taking those plates. Golden Guardians wants to staunch this bleeding a little bit, stop Cloud9 from building up any more of an early advantage. If they can get to the point where it's just those big 5-on-5s like you were talking about, this is a great team fight.
This has been the conundrum of all the LCS teams this whole split, Captain Flowers.
Except TSM.
How? Yeah, exactly. TSM break it yesterday. The question has always been, how do we deal with this basically full court press style of Cloud9, where as soon as you get the ball out, as soon as you go for any sort of play on the map, they're pressuring you on every objective, on every side. Now they're between your turrets, diving your Aphelios.
Oh, the haymaker not even required. It's Blaber getting his 3rd kill of the game, 3-0-2 on this Pantheon, 100% kill participation. Absolutely reckless abandon, diving in to get the kills.
All right, another buff stolen away as well, as you see before we pan over to the mid lane. Blaber going to pick that one up after taking down FBI between his own turrets. This is a follow-up to the interview show Between Two Ferns, where they just kind of make fun of the guests, like, FBI, between two turrets, how long are you going to last on this one?
I would normally feel bad for him because he wasn't even overextended, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he was super safe. But considering he's Aphelios and he got to do that kind of crap to people with his turret from a million miles away, I'm like, yeah, how's your own medicine taste there, buddy? You want another dose? But either way, Cloud9's happy to see it happen. FBI 0-2-0 on this Aphelios. He's behind in farm. He's going to be struggling a little bit to keep pace with this game. 4,000 gold now. Cloud9's got over the Golden Guardians, as FBI will be switched up here to the top lane to farm up and try to continue building that economy.
And let me just highlight Blaber here, because there's been so much discussion about Cloud9, their success, and you know, Blaber coming up, being full-time for the team, correcting a lot of the 50-50 impressions that people had of him.
No more points.
This has been a tutorial on Jungle Pantheon. The strengths that we mentioned in Champ Select played out before your eyes in a professional game on stage here to perfection by Blaber. And he's kept up the pressure, diving those turrets, punishing the side lanes later on. Oftentimes you'll see some of the early game played out really well by Jungle Pantheons, but then they fall off, they have a missed ultimate, or they fail to keep up the pressure later on. Not so in this game. And Cloud9 now eyes towards mid lane as Licorice actually going for the 1v1.
Hauntzer getting the better of him early on, but remember, you can't really judge a Sett 1v1 until the haymaker comes out, because it can swing the fight so incredibly wildly. As Blaber's not in too bad of condition up here. You can see it looked like Goldenglue was almost able to find some Zoe damage there, but Pantheon E is so effective at stopping these kinds of things, unless the E is on cooldown, in which case 2/3 your HP goes bye-bye, but Goldenglue also dangerously low.
Yeah, and they also use the Sejuani ultimate there, so every time you do take a hit like that, you gotta count the cooldowns used by your opponents. Sejuani ultimate is one of the big initiators for Golden Guardians, and Blaber can just heal right back up off this Scuttle Crab. Big Baron Pit enhanced Scuttle Crab as well, known as Shelly.
Baron Pit enhanced Scuttle Crab.
Maybe that's
what Rip showed it. It's just a Scuttle Crab that ate the eye.
So I remember the lore. I don't know where I saw this, but the lore was that Shelly is actually just a Scuttle Crab that got corrupted by the evil Baron power.
That's what I said, at ATI.
Exactly, that exudes from that pit and morphed into this turret-destroying giant Scuttle. Mega Crab.
Well, that Mega Crab has been acquired here yet again. Cloud9 have command over that one. You can see Blaber's inventory working on that first lethality item as well. Importantly, Vulcan has the Umbral Glaive. I mentioned last game about how this gives you a lot of extra vision control on the map. We'll see him try to use that. Huhi actually has a pretty substantial vision score lead over him right now, so he's doing a good job trying to sweep away some of this vision, prevent Cloud9 from getting further ahead.
Here's what I see when I look at items.
All right, what do you see, bro?
It's triple Super Soakers. Have you ever seen that many? It actually reminds me of playing...
seventh grade when I was squirt gun fight with your boys.
Yeah, so we used to play Capture the Flag with Super Soakers. And if you get shot once and you have to go back to the other side, they just need a couple more here to actually have a full game going.
Oh, ours was just team deathmatch. You just shot until you ran out of water in the tank. But Shelly is summoned up here in the mid lane, nearly taking down that tier 2. Huhi nearly gone as well. Vulcan eats the brunt of the damage from Goldenglue, but hey, that's just fine. He's Pyke. He can heal right back up as soon as he's out of vision. Yeah. You can see already back to 80% HP, and the C9 push continues. They were not able to get to tier 2. Importantly, Golden Guardians hold on.
Definitely important for them to hold on to tier 2, but they have to start to worry here as Cloud9 are eyeballing that flag on the Nexus. They knock down one more layer of defense and start to move in. You can see already Golden Guardians trying to prioritize some of this defensive vision. Control Ward immediately popped down in the Pixel Brush here, topside river, and they have one in bottom side river, prepping for this Mountain Dragon to arrive. Number 3 would give Cloud9 soul point, and Golden Guardians look like they want to make their stand, try and cut it off before it becomes that looming threat.
That Sleepy Trouble Bubble doesn't find its way onto Nisqy. His mana bar is low, but he's got the blue buff, so he should be fine without having to go back to the base. Drake spawning in 30 is a good time for Golden Guardians to take this Scuttle Crab, give him a little bit more extra control over the bottom side river. You can see all the control wards placed down. 2 of them right next to each other, unfortunately. As another 1v1 is going to be happening here in the top side jungle. Not a 1v1 for long. Here come the reinforcements. It's Taliyah and Pantheon every single time.
It's the difficulty of dealing with such an open map when they're pressured back to secondary turrets. They don't have any defenses to rely on. If anyone's away from one of these towers, then you get double semi-global ultimate right on top of your head. And maybe Licorice can't win the 1v1 down there on the bottom side with Aatrox, but he can definitely win the 1v3.
Yeah, I feel like those are just a little difference in difficulty.
You don't put that on your resume, Flowers. I win the 1v3.
I won a 3v1 against a guy isolated in the jungle by the red buff. Yeah. Well, unfortunately for Golden Guardians, that means they will have to give up yet another Drake. As you mentioned, this means soul point. It means everyone after this practically needs to be contested or else you give away the soul. It is just bad news bears all across Summoner's Rift here for the Golden Guardians. 6,500 gold behind. Baron's not even alive yet.
Honestly, though, for the league, I'm kind of happy to see Cloud9 straight just return to business after receiving the loss at the hands of TSM. TSM played that game extremely well, pressuring them, fighting them on these objectives. And I already saw a couple of people like, oh, well, 18-0 is out the door. You know, have they fallen? Is it over? Did they just crack the spell here for Cloud9? Nope, turns out right back to business as usual. Same game plan here. And again, moving the steps forward here. Vulcan does go for a bit of initiation towards mid with Blaber running up the middle, but they don't find anyone from Golden Guardians, although they will force them back out of possible territory here around Baron and sweeping through the vision.
I want to see Cloud9 apply some pretty heavy setup around this Baron pit. Make Golden Guardians come check it. This team, they need to get a pick. They're not going to have the best time just standing up next to a turret and saying, hey, we're going to threaten this 5v5. Don't do the Nay-Ram, because that's going to end up giving your opponents a chance to team fight with their team fighting composition. Let's see how they decide to play it out here now that we've crushed this 20-minute mark.
Yeah, Cloud9 pretty much always play side lanes. They've got big advantage. You see Taliyah up there. You're shoving the wave burst on both sides. And then, coming straight through the river, it's just picture perfect.
It's Taliyah and Pantheon. Blaber goes into the fight, immediately popping the stasis, making sure they're not able to return the aggro onto him. However, now he's going to be found by the CC of the Sejuani ult. He goes on a rampage, finding the kill onto the Aphelios. Closer trying to get himself out, and it's Licorice into the back lines. It's Pyke finding the spot with the X. As soon as Hauntzer tries to make some sort of a move, he is just more money in the pocket of Cloud9's support. That is what I'm talking about. Punish them in open ground. C9, 4 for none.
All right, Goldenglue, the last hope of the Golden Guardians. He's got a Stealthy Flash available, even though he burned his own. No Smite. He's not able to find a Smite anywhere on the ground, so no steal will come through. Cloud9 wearing purple.
Goldenglue, Golden Guardians, there's not enough gold in Scrooge McDuck's basement to get these guys in through a fight that they would beat Cloud9. And at that point, let's take another look at how the collapse went down.
And you see, both of the side lanes pushed already. Teleport comes in the middle here from Licorice because they start the fight before he actually walks up the river. And Blaber and Nisqy both focus on FBI, separated from the team on the half of your screen, but on the bottom half of your screen, Licorice gets such a crazy Sett ultimate there into a double stun from Zven. to win both sides of that team fight pretty much simultaneously, as Goldenglue had been chasing over to find a kill on the Nisqy, who was low with the Zoe, but unable to corral him there. And Blaber's able to defend him after taking down Aphelios. It was just a completely outplayed team fight right there as Cloud9 dissect the Golden Guardians, separate them into two manageable sequences, and win both sides.
Cloud9 now have 11,000 gold ahead of their opponents 22 minutes into the game. And this plays out in two different ways from here, at least I think. Either you win in the next 2 minutes, which is your Baron power play, which is entirely possible given the lead, or if you can't close the game out by then, as soon as you're done, it's Mountain Soul. You just grab that, and then you can win with that. Things are so difficult now for the Golden Guardians. The timers are lined up in a way that they never really have a chance to even breathe, and Cloud9 will continue to make sure of it.
Yeah, they've got plenty of time with this Baron power play, so we expect at least this cannon minion to do a lot of work on the turret and then slowly able to whittle it down. Vulcan actually trying to buff up the mid minions. Pyke very mobile, so it's easy for him to just kind of wait around. You can see him, he just wants to apply the Baron buff to take up some of Hauntzer's time and allow the rest of the squad to push over on the bottom half. There's the initiation, though.
Nice engage coming out from the Golden Guardians. Nisqy's going to be taken very low. Shutdown for FBI. Licorice takes him out in the back line, and the lead is just too much. Even though they start off with a kill onto the Cloud9 mid laner, it's just not a fight you can win from 10,000 gold behind. And C9 kill 3.
And Licorice lives after diving under that turret at Sett.
Just Sett things.
That's going to leave them alone with the inhibitor turrets. Cloud9 will take them both. Goldenglue and Huhi. Up to them to try and defend the rest of it here. I think inhibitors into Mountain Soul is the play here from Cloud9. They don't really have enough health, enough of an advantage to finish the game. As you said, that Mountain Soul is just going to kind of be the cherry on top. That allows them to finish it out later.
Second inhibitor will not fall. They don't want to stick around, risk overstaying, walking into a Zoe bubble, Nautilus CC chain combo. Instead, they'll exercise discretion. They'll take that bottom side inhib. They'll move over to that Mountain Soul. Licorice steals away the red buff yet again. This is not a fun game to be a jungler against Cloud9. No, sir. Blaber's on to that Drake himself. Zven's nearby, just throwing the blue buff in there to the Drake pit, letting him know how it feels to be a real objective for once.
Yeah, quietly, actually, Zven on the Syndra has had a really nice game, too. He isn't getting a lot of flashy plays with last hits, but let's take another look at the dive first. Great hook by Huhi, honestly. Started out, Golden Guardians have to look for a big play like that onto the backline, and they do barely finish him off before Licorice goes 1v4 under the tower as Sett and gets 2 kills. Vulcan following him up to make sure they finish the second one off in time. He gets to try and peel. He walks right back out. And now they've got the Cloud Soul. They've got an open pathway into the base as well.
That Soul, those extra shields mean it's going to be even harder for Golden Guardians to find the damage to bring one of these guys down. Hauntzer will continue trying to hold the side lane here. The Aatrox never really getting the opportunity to get to that point that you were talking about where, yeah, if it goes super late, maybe he can kite Sett out, use the range on the Qs to win the 1v1s. There's one inhibitor turret left standing. Cloud9 are pushing up here in that top lane towards it. Baron spawns in under 2 minutes. They can always just apply pressure and then wait for the second Baron if they want to use that to close out the game. But honestly, with a 14,000 gold lead, you have to expect them to just hard force it.
Well, here it comes. I'm expecting one in the near future. Clearing out the control ward as you see Nisqy on your screen there. But this mid inhibitor turret, no defenses left. Everybody huddling around here as Licorice tries to hold it. Nice wall from Taliyah is going to block off the Golden Guardians and allow C9 some extra damage on the turret.
Yep, Taliyah wall is really good at doing that. It's not just a flanking and engage mechanism. Sometimes it's used only to prevent action, but it does not buy them enough time to take down the turret fully. Blaber's going to continue applying pressure here in the mid lane. Super minions doing the same on the bottom side. Aphelios turrets being thrown around by Syndra like some cheap Walmart toy. As C9 will push down that top side here yet again. Huhi's going in, the chain CC coming out, the damage going down, and Zven will barely walk away. Vulcan is now the target, and that's another shutdown going over to FBI. Blaber goes unstoppable. It is support for support as Cloud9 now finds themselves on the wrong side of the enemy walls. Or are they? Facebreaker into Haymaker! Licorice is on a killing spree, and Golden Guardians are on the run. One more punch would do it, but they don't even need that to take Hauntzer out. Blaber is dominating. Cloud9 is 4 men strong in the enemy base. They've got the opportunity to take that mid lane inhib, and they can move right back up to the top side.
Yep, inhibitors down. What a big play again from Licorice as Golden Guardians look to be able to try and fight their way out of it, but he just turns around, got a perfect stun. Now he's healed back up with regeneration and looking for another play. All 3 inhibitors down. That's your double supers in every single lane, and they are going to retreat for a possible Baron.
Double supers in every lane is pretty much just your free pass. Here you go, sir, right this way to Baron. Yep, nothing gonna be going on here. Have some fun down in the Baron pit. Lovely, lovely tourist attraction on Summoner's Rift. Golden Guardians, though, sorry, we're closed.
Yeah, oftentimes, even when you get your double supers in every lane, it feels like you can almost take a vacation. Just leisurely walk up and finish it. Let's take a look at the initiation, though. It was a really good counter seismic shove from Nisqy. He pushes both those tanks back off of Zven, so Zven is able to survive. They did get the kill, switching targets there over onto Pyke, though, which made you think, all right, Golden Guardians, maybe they can defend it. Then, even with the flash, FBI is not able to get away from Licorice there as he walked up and was able to get the stun on both sides. Now they get their Baron.
You can see pings coming out from Cloud9 onto Hauntzer, who was close by around the Krug pit, but he wasn't looking to contest Baron. He was literally just grabbing the 100 gold from Krugs, going right back up to the top lane. Cloud9 now with their 2nd Baron of the game. All inhibitors are down, but the bottom lane inhibitor will respawn here in about 5 seconds. C9 with a 4-man push middle, 1-man top to make sure that they're applying as much pressure as possible by enchanting 2 different waves at once. Super Baron enchanted double super minion waves are nothing to mess around with, as Golden Guardians surely only have 1 fight left, and Huhi has decided it is time to go. A very nice initiation will take down the Cloud9 bot laner. Licorice goes into the backside, and he's on a rampage. With FBI and Goldenglue down, the carries are out of the picture, and Cloud9 has absolutely crushed the Golden Guardians. Hauntzer's gonna jump around, do some gymnastics with the sword. It don't matter none. The inhibitors fall, the turrets fall, the Nexus falls, and Cloud9 is right back to their usual tricks.
"13-1 for Cloud9, picking right back up where they left off here. Early game power. I really do think Blaber played that Pantheon jungle so well. They coordinate with their laners also extremely well. A big part of a lot of these ganks, and we're talking about, is timing your initiations with your laners, them trying to bait the opponents in, them starting it up with their own CC. And you can see it multiple times in multiple different plays here in this game. Really, really well played once again by C9. As far as the Golden Guardians on their side, them having subbed Huhi back in, you could see still, even though they were so far behind, it is Huhi flashing in with the Nautilus or looking for these big Nautilus hooks in their times of need when they know they have very few options left. So at least I think, thankfully for them, they do get some positive feedback on the changes that they've been trying to make towards the end of the split here to try and really fight for that playoff spot. Do think that at least Huhi, they're finding some good engages, even if they're going to lose the fight anyway.
Look, you're going to lose the fight anyway, but it's better